Hey guys, for this one, you may want to watch the video. So if it's possible, find yourself in front of the computer so you can watch the videos. And I'm so glad you're here. Can't wait to dive in. Tonight, we are going to talk about connection and connection, the definition, the state of being connected, united, joined, or linked, and associated or related. So in this case, we're talking about the hind legs being associated to the front, the idea of the whole horse being connected through the rider. And connection in dressage, in traditional dressage training, the notion of connection often reduces the connection to simply achieving a light contact with the reins. However, true connection is much more profound. It is the feeling of the horse's back legs working in tandem with your hands. When the hindquarters are engaged correctly, you'll experience a positive push forward. It's as if the horse is not just moving under you, but pulling you along, creating a flow of energy that works between you and your horse. One of the most common misconceptions about connection is that it can be achieved by riding into the bit. And this often results in a rigid, flat feeling where the horse appears to be resisting or pulling against the rider. True connection, on the other hand, is not about pulling or holding back. It is about sending the energy forward. Your hands should act as a conduit, allowing the horse's natural power to flow through the seat and legs, creating a seamless synergy. When a horse is truly connected, you will feel the back legs actively pushing off the ground and taking you for a ride. Christoph Hess says, connection means energy from behind flowing through the whole body of the horse into the mouth. The secret of classical riding and how to win medals in dressage is developing this feeling and this picture. What we see in the front of the horse is the result of the activity from behind. The hind legs through the back, the neck, the pole, and then the mouth. A rider can feel with their hands the activity of the hind legs via the contact. In the following photo, which I will now share with you, you can clearly see that the hocks are incorrectly placed in the top one and then well placed in the bottom one. The author of this photo talks a lot more about the diagonals getting out of whack. So that's what those red lines are. But I added this picture more because you get the feeling that when the rider sits in a balanced way with the legs underneath her own seat, then the hind legs are coming under to the center of gravity. So in the top picture, you see those upper legs are probably a little bit tight. The lower legs are pushed away. The seat ends up then being pushed by accident downwards in order to rock her against the hands. And in the bottom one, you see the lower legs are supporting the seat. And then the reins don't need to be supporting the rider's upper body. So but we're going to watch some horses today. We're going to watch some videos today. But I just wanted to give you that visual. This is from happyhorsetraining.com. I don't believe these people are doing this website anymore, but all the information is up there, and a lot of their graphics are very, very helpful, and give credit, of course, to them for this. The next picture shows us the bridge of engagement. So again, we're looking at the way that the horse moves through the body when that bridge is in place, and how it kind of makes the whole body of the horse a little bit look discombobulated when that bridge is not up. So when the other horse that we were looking at, that rider had the lower legs underneath supporting her own seat, and that meaning that the horse's back is coming up to the rider rather than the rider sitting strong downward trying to find the horse's back. And because that back gets up, then the hind legs have somewhere to go. And you see when the back is down, it's actually blocking that the horse can even come with the hind legs under. And it doesn't matter. In this case, you can see both situations, whether the horse's head is up or whether the horse's head is actually in a frame. The horse can distort itself that it doesn't bring the back up. So we need to gain that feeling of when the horse's hind leg is swinging under and the back is swinging up toward the seat, and that's what makes the roundness, that we don't make the roundness from the front, and then the back gets lowered and the hind legs get disappearing. So then I have one more photo. How do we create that feeling of roundness? And I am always talking about that flex, yield, half halt, allow and ride, forward, repeat. So I like to think of the half halts like checking in. The reins need to make it through to the hind legs, and the hind legs need to make it through to the bit. And here I write, the thing to notice in this photograph is that purple arrow. And that purple arrow shows the horse's intention to go forward. The horse has that impulse to go forward. And because of that, then we have these other arrows that they put in here, where the seat is following the motion. The belly button is bringing that seat in a little bit. The feeling that we are carrying our own rib cage and not getting pulled forward. So we have this intention of up and back, but on our own, not against the reins. And then the that feeling that our thighs, not in a gripping way, but the front of the thighs can aid our seat in helping the horse to wait. And then the lower leg can support the seat and engage the horse as necessary. So the horse needs to know that he needs to trot. After that, it is established, the seat will follow it, the stomach will recycle it, the upper body can stretch, and the leg, when closed, engages the hind leg under, instead of the horse running away from the legs. And this feeling takes time to develop. If we feel when we put our legs on that the horse runs away and then we pull back, then we create that situation that the back can get hollow. And when we feel that the horse is giving the impulse to go forward and we can half halt and we can supple, then the hands don't have to hold backward. But the horse keeps recycling back in. In the trot, that timing can be a little bit easier. In the canter, although we feel the rocking feeling more, sometimes we can have that idea to half halt at the end of the stride instead of the beginning of the stride, which can cause a little bit of difficulty in feeling that recycling. When the horse runs through the leg, a new reaction needs to be taught. The seat creates a waiting feeling. The reins create the half halt, and this must be followed by giving or creating suppleness, not throwing the rein at the horse, but just that quarter of an inch that we allow the horse to grow from the hind legs into the bit. If the horse has the habit of running, then we need to train better, but that doesn't give us, I put in the notes, it doesn't give us the right to just pull back all the time. We need to let our seat have time to develop the feeling for the footfalls. We need to understand that sometimes mistakes happen. And if the horse gets tense or running, slow things down for a minute. Reestablish balance, and then start up again. So what I thought we would do today is, hold on. Now we're going to watch a couple videos. And what I want you to do is I want you to watch with that idea of what we're just talking about in mind. After the first ride, I will go back to the Zoom and then we'll talk about it. But if you can just tell me that you can see that. So think about, this is 5-year-olds. Think about what we're talking about, that seat. Because in the beginning, when we watch with a little bit less educated eye, we think that the seat is actually pushing every step. So you see her really, really well swinging with this. This is a German rider, and you see her seat swinging well with the trot. And you see a little bit what I was talking about with those thighs, that the thighs are not gripping in, but they are riding that motion. Hopefully it won't do that too much. I thought we were in a good way. And then you see a little bit also that what we talk about, the lower leg kind of a little bit, the ankles, the knees, the hips, allowing that trot to come through. And then you see also what we talk about, where the seat is actually going, the hands are going away from the seat. The seat is going backward, the hands are going forward. She really shows us this nicely. Where, you know, when we first start riding, we think the seat and the hands are both following the natural nod. But you see very well with her, her seat stays back with those hind legs, and the hands are still following that natural nod. And here in the canter, it's the exact same thing, just, you know, very slightly. Of course, it's a little bit more difficult because of that jump. And again, she's actually recycling each time the horse commits to cantering, she lets herself stay back. So she's not pushing the hind legs away from the front legs. As fancy as this horse is, and the hands are nice, very good. For a 5-year-old, that's very, very good. So cute. Or anything that you want, right? Looked really nice. And then can you see, because this is a really, really nice example of that swinging seat, letting the horse has the impulse, and then the rider can keep bringing it back. Her hands aren't bringing it back. You actually can see that nice following with the wrists, and that the horse is very nicely on her seat. So absolutely beautiful. So let's see. All right. And then this is, I mean, um, all these guys are great, but this just gives you just a little bit different feeling. You don't have the same trust, to me, for the from the rider. So that a little bit, he is showing you in motion that picture that we saw in Frozen, where the back is a little bit down, the hind legs are a little bit out. There's no judgment zone. These are 5-year-olds at a very, very big show. So there can be some tension creeping in and so on. But the picture that we saw, um, the upper leg is a little bit gripping in. The rider is a little bit pushing the hind legs away instead of allowing the hind legs to roll under. And then you see when he does put his legs on, then the horse runs a little bit at the hand. So then the rider ends up a little bit in a backward way some of the time. And he's trying to find a better feeling. And you see that he's trying to find those moments to follow more with the arms. But the horse himself has um, just a little difficulty and tightness in the lower back, which is what uh, And then you see the same, like she did the one before, did such a beautiful rein back where you could really see the reins in the hind legs. And with this one, the rein brought the neck back, but the coordination of his hind legs was not quite the same. I mean, it's super young horse, and he's in a little bit, looks to me like in a little bit of an awkward time in his growing. So we're not. This is nothing about judgment. It's just to show in moving that what we were just watching in the looking at and in the pictures, and you can see how the rider takes the legs off when the horse runs away, and we want to be able to hug the horse to bring the back up to the seat, and when he runs away, then he takes the legs off, then the seat ends up actually pushing down more. And so it's a unfortunate, just that the horse is having a little bit of tension, but it's very useful for us because we can see night and day the two situations. So I'm just going to pause it for a second while it reloads. Sorry about that. My computer doesn't have such an easy time, or the internet, whichever, doing both things where it's doing the Zoom, and let's see if he catches up. So you just see that he takes those legs away, and then the upper leg is tight and not allowing the lower leg to support and connect the hind legs through. And then you see also that coordination between the hind legs through the back, through to the reins. It's hard for him to process what the rider wants and to actually get that walk. Then he wasn't in a 4-beat walk. And here he just loses a little bit the hind legs into canter to get back to the trot. That trot, you really want to find that step right in the moment of the canter. There is a diagonal, and so that's what we want to teach the horses, to catch that up without having to make the hind legs smaller and smaller and smaller until the horse almost stops. So I'm sorry for him, but it's a very, very good example for us of those two pictures. Very cute. It'll be a good horse. It's just a little bit early. And then this is a very big horse. Look at how long the legs. This is my secret. Oh no. Sorry, I picked the wrong one. I tried to pick one this is by Furstenball. Vivino Furstenball. Mm-mm. All right. There we go. Such long legs. So here you see, actually, this girl is very much trying. She's kind of in between, right? She's trying to keep the lower legs. She's not trying to grippy with the upper leg. She's hugging him really nicely with her lower legs. She doesn't have yet that control of her upper body, but she is moving with the horse and allowing that movement through with just a little, you see a little tension that happens in her hips, and then that just the lack of strength in her, like her lats and in her core, to hold herself up independent from his balance. But as far as, you know, letting him move and trying to go with his movement, she's making a very, very good effort, and it's a huge mover. So and just get now, you know, you'd really like to see her be able to ride the smaller steps with her hips so that the neck doesn't have to get too close to her. Again, this was like halfway in between the other one. The neck still got short, but the contact and the understanding of the hind legs was good. He's a little bit looking at stuff, so just a little bit tension, and now he's, you know, it's not so much that he gets behind, you know, the vertical, so much as he's not reaching with the hind legs to the bits. So he's like dropping the bits. So as she goes back to pick up the canter, that's not going to be super easy for her to connect those hind legs back up to the bit. Oh, but he's a good boy. Good. Actually has quite a good canter, this horse. And then just, you know, where that other girl had so much peacefulness with her seat, and that and this is a younger girl still building up that confidence, but you can see a little bit the pushing of the seat, pushing those hind legs away. So she just needs a little bit more of the recycling feeling to connect him. But what a big, beautiful horse. And here again, you can see that he drops a little bit the contact. So she doesn't have control from the hind legs through to the bit. When she drops those reins, he just collapses on her, and then it's hard for her to get him connected. Hind legs, front legs, bit at the end. And that's a little bit that wobbly center line too. But really gonna be quite a nice horse. It actually, in that slow motion that they just did, so you see a little bit that lack, that you can't completely keep him straight because he's not going forward to the contact quite enough there. And the lower back a little bit, you know, just a little bit tension. But in the medium trot, oh boy, they show you in the slow motion. And if you see in the slow motion, you really see that the horse has the intent to trot. And then she, with her seat, she can stay here with me. She doesn't have to say it too much with the reins. So where's that secret one? No, did it bring the one I wanted this time? Yes. So then that's another German. Just a little bit too long with the reins for me. Um, Secret by what? Carabas. Knickers. Though this horse, I would say, probably doesn't have the same athleticism that the other one does, that the German rider. And so you see her just trying to make it just a little bit more over the ground. This horse stays a little bit more close to the ground with his hind legs. You can see um, the hocks don't actually bend. And the hips bend, the stifles bend, the lower back is actually swinging, but those hocks don't really bend. So his hind legs stay a little flatter to the ground. So the rider tries to just help a little bit with that. And you can see that again, a little bit that disconnection between the lower back and the hind legs when she asked for the reining back. The walk is really good. And he really goes now. You can see the difference between the horse going to the contact comparatively to the other one, and how the shoulders follow through to the bit each step, and she's able to ride. This is perfect too. This, but here you see her hand forward and her seat back. It's like actually even a nice place to stop. So that gives you that feeling that you're not hips and hands going forward. You're going backward, your hands are going forward. So she's giving him a target of the saddle with her seat rather than pushing. Really, she shows that really well. So here the hands are coming in the backward part of the natural nod, and her hips are forward, and then you see the giving. Yeah, really good. That's really, really nicely done. And then you see her seat keeps on walking while she shortens the reins. Very good. Very good. Very nice for a 5-year-old. Very good coordination and understanding. A lot of them start kind of shuffling and getting running and getting quick. That was really well done. And here you see that the seat is recycling. It's not pushing. And these German riders are just so good at that. And then you see him, that inside hind leg, trying to find the place to go in that small turn. Very good. And here he should slow down. Good boy. Very good. Schön. Yeah, very good. So he's the guy is also staying schönes transitions. Good transitions. Very good. Very good. And yeah, and then you see him find that diagonal and take the trot. And after the canter, just a little bit even better in his back. So you see that he gets a little more cadence over the ground. Here he takes nicely the contact, like that was what was missing with the other one. And this now her hips, and everything is done. She's a little less stressed, and you see the hips relax and move just a little bit more with him where they were a little bit tight in the beginning. Very good. Very nice. Just the couple of things that I wrote about trying to develop this feeling is slow things down if tension is creeping in. Let your hands feel like you want the horse's mouth to feel. So if we want the horse letting our hands through, our hands have to be letting the horse's mouth through. Like we have to let our hands feel. Let the hands feel like you want your horse's mouth to feel. Catch yourself when you start to feel tense. Breathe, slow down, and follow the movement. And go back to transitions when you feel the half halts don't work. Let your seat, and you've heard me say that before, let your seat connect the dots between the legs and the reins. So if you need more energy, use the legs and ride the same tempo with the seat. If you need the horse to slow down, half halt with the reins and ride with the seat slower. If you want bigger steps, add leg, allow a little bit with the rein, and ride larger steps with the seat. So your seat is always connecting those dots, helping the horse, giving confidence to the horse about what your reins and your legs mean. If you want a downward transition, keep the legs a little bit close, like we were watching those beautiful riders do for engagement, and then ride the new gait with the seat and the reins with the half halts. So it's very easy to say. Practice makes helps for us to be able to develop our feeling and create that we are looking for the feeling, that the horse creates the impulse, and then we get to be moved because the horse is moving, that we're not making the next step, the next step, the next step. And I think these guys all made a really great example of that.